Good morning, everybody. MG here, MGCovers, bringing you a brand new handicapping video, how to avoid big losing days in sports betting. A lot of people don't like to talk about it, but it is part of the business, and I'm going to talk about, give you some strategies how to avoid that. Before we go any further, don't forget you can follow me on all social media, MGCovers, covered spelled with a Z. That's on Twitter and Instagram. That being said, let's get started. Okay, before we get into actual strategies, let's talk about bankroll management. First off, if you're a $100 player, you must have $2,000 bankroll. And what I mean by bankroll, that's money you have set aside that is specifically for sports betting, sports wagering, etc. So how do you come up with that figure? It's basically 5% of the 2,000. So in order to be wagering $100, you have to have at least 2,000. 2,000 times 5% is $100. You can't even reduce that down to 3% if you want to play ultra conservative, meaning you'd have a $2,000 bankroll. You're only wagering 3% per play, which will be $60 a play. In order to be wagering dimes, $1,000, you need to have at least $20,000 in bankroll. You say, well, how do we come up with that figure? It's pretty simple. If risking 5% per play, would have to go 0-20 to lose your entire bankroll, which is pretty difficult to do. And if you think about this, what a big mistake people make in managing their bankroll, they'll put, whether it's a sports book or betting with a local source, they'll say they have $500 to wager. They'll end up playing $100, maybe go 1-4 one day. Now you only have $100 left. You lose the next day, and boom, your bankroll's down. So you might say, you're watching this and say, well, hey, I only have $500 to wager. Well, your unit size is going to be $10. So you take 5%. Oh, I'm sorry, $25. So you take 5% of 500, and you're going to be wagering $25 per play. Now, go in this, and there's another video where I talk about creative bankroll management, where you vary your unit size as your bankroll increases or decreases, so that you always are at the 5% per play, so that at any time you would still have to go 0-20 to lose your entire bankroll. So I'll cover that in another video. I might put a link in the description box for that if you want to continue to watch that. But for the sake of this video, I want to establish that because this will make a lot more sense when we go forward. All right, here's the big one. So if you have 6 plays in one day, let's say you have 6 plays, you're a $100 player, and are you going to risk 1/3 of your bankroll? Meaning you got 6 plays, you're a $100 player, you're going to risk $600. Well, you only have $2,000 to risk total for sports betting, so that would be 1/3 of your bankroll, which is a pretty big portion. That's actually a little bit less than a third, but still a lot. Okay, now lowering risk strategies. Let's talk about what you can do to lower those strategies. Number one. And this is something that I've been doing a lot here lately, especially in the past year. Highly recommend doing this. This is a great way to play and reduce your risk. If you have 6 plays, instead of risking $600 total, it's very simple. You reduce your unit size to half a unit per play. So instead of risking $100 a play, now you're only risking $50 per play. 50 times 6, 300. So the max you have at risk would be $300. In the unlikely event, very difficult to go 0-6, right? Even if you're a novice or a pro or whatever, the odds of going 0-6 are very, very slim. Same as going 6-0. So, but in the unlikely event that happens, you're only down 3 units. Okay. Now, another ultra conservative strategy is to take your unit size and divide by your total plays. Now, this would be a really good strategy for a novice, especially if you like a lot of action, which means you have a lot of plays. So let's say it's very simple. You take your unit size, which in this case is $100. You divide that by 6, that equals $17 a play. In the event you go 0-6, your total loss is right at 1 unit. Okay, so before we move forward, I know some of you might be saying, well, if we reduce our unit size, what happens if we go, like going back to the first example, number one, if you go 6-0, then we would have been up 6 units. That's true. That is true. However, do not forget, you can't get rich in one day. Sports betting is a long-term investment. So if you know that, if you can't get rich in one day, why risk that much in one day? So when you have a big card, a lot of plays, definitely need to think about reducing your unit size, because it's just, like I say, it's just too much to risk, because that time when you think, and the unlikely events, you have a challenging day, which I'm going to show you a challenging day I had Saturday. You'll see what I mean. And actually, by reducing our risk, it sort of saves us, so to speak. So again, those are two strategies, and we're going to actually give you a real life example. This happened this past Saturday for me. We'll kind of go through this. I had 10 plays total. So normally that would be, for me, you'll see the numbers and totals over here. So a unit size for me is $1,000. So that would be $10,000 risked in one day, 50%, in essence, 50% of my bankroll, which I don't really change my unit size. I just leave it at 1,000. Risk 50% of bankroll? No. So what I actually did was I played half units. So now I only have 25% of bankroll at risk, and in this case, $5,000. So let's actually see what happened, and then we'll come back and sort of talk about it. So this was the card for NHL. 118, we had half units. We had St. Louis, Buffalo, Dallas all lost. However, we did hit Chicago, which is another reason for playing underdogs. So if you add it up, we hit 170. The loss was 3. So in that specific example, if they were full units, that would be down to 1.2 units. So we only risked half a unit, so we're down half of that. But still, that was 1 and 3 there. Okay, move on to NBA. We risked half units here as well. Philadelphia lost that one. Lakers won on the money line. I talked about that too. Just a quick tip: if you see a money line of, say, or if you're looking at playing a team of, say, a +1 or a +2 spread, don't play that. Just play it on the money line, because if you play a +2 or +1 and they lose, all you're gonna do is end up paying juice. So if a team's that close to 0 on a spread, just play it on the money line. So that was an even split right there. Philadelphia, the 110, those two games wash out. And then finally, college basketball, we hit Baylor at -110. That was a win. However, did lose West Virginia, Butler, and Akron. So on the surface, that looks like, oh no, terrible day. We finished 3-7. And just using basic math, 3 minus 7, you would think normally we would down approximately 4 units. Well, a couple things helped us. Number one, that Chicago win up there at the top, even though we went 1 and 3, in essence down 1.2 units, not factoring in wager and half units. So back to this example on the right, bad day. However, because we only risked half units, we were only down 1.82 units total out of all of that. So what would normally been, say, quote, a bad day, because if we'd have bet full units, we'd have been down right at 4 units. And I've talked about this before on my Instagram page, Twitter. 1 to 2 unit variance in sports betting is very common, which means you might go up 1 unit, down 2 units, up 2 units, down 1 unit. All that's common. What's difficult to do in sports betting, when you have a day where you go down 4 units, that's hard to overcome that. 4 and 5 unit days, very difficult. Now, granted, you might have a day where you win 4 and 5 units, but still, again, it's all about managing your risk. And what you have to remember, and some of you might be saying, well, hey, what happens if you would have went 7 and 3? Well, we had a winning day. Okay. And you can't get rich in one day, and you have the whole season to be profitable, whether it's basketball, NBA, college basketball, NHL, whatever it is. So there's no need to put that much at risk in any one day. And if you look at this last sentence here, this is almost the equivalent to going 0 and 2 down 2 units. So you look at all that action I had there on the left. We only played half a unit, was down less than 2 units total. So that's almost the equivalent. That's actually better than somebody that went 0 and 2, played normal juice, being down 2 units plus juice. Okay. So it's a very effective strategy, especially when you're going to play when you're going to have a lot of action, when you're playing 5+ plays in a day. Would strongly encourage you to use one of these examples. Now watch this. If you go a step further, in retrospect, maybe I should have risked a 3rd units, because normally I don't have 10 plays at all. So the 10 plays I play, I also sent those out to clients as well. So watch this, if I would have wagered 1/3 units, I would have only been down 0.9 units. So all that action, that would have been $333 per play. And, went 3 and 7, I'd only been down, less than a unit. And again, going back to what I mentioned earlier, you say, what if you went 7 and 3? Well, then I would have been up, or, whatever. Highly unlikely that I went 10 and 0, but if I'd have had a big day in reverse instead of a 3 and 7 day, a 7 and 3 day, it'd have been a profitable day. And again, one of the biggest mistakes people do in this business is, and myself included at times, we always think about winning and trying to make money. You have to think about in terms of risk and losing money. And I've used this example before. Warren Buffett said, if you haven't read his books, great material, very successful billionaire. He always talks about one of the things you have to do in order to be successful and to make money is you have to figure out how not to lose money. Okay, it's a very, very good quote. And if you take that concept and apply it to sports betting, you can use these specific examples that I gave you here today, and hopefully that helps. All right, so moving along, if you'd like to join the site, first time watching video, we have a coaching program, $29.95 a month. You get power rankings for all of our sports. What is power rankings? It includes my lines for all of the games, which you get all of my lines for NBA, NFL, soccer, NHL, NCAA basketball. You compare my lines to the sportsbook lines, find value, and make your wagers. That way, we have a lot of clients having a lot of success with that. You also get access to our coaching video library. It's videos you can't find on YouTube that are specific to coaching. We teach you how to handicap from A to Z, teach you how to handicap on the subjective side, and applying that to the objective side, put those together to make good wagers. That's normally $29.95 a month. However, we have a special for this month only. We're going to run this for this week. You can join for $19.95. That's for the entire first month of our coaching program. You can join for $20. Then after that, it is $29.95 per month. So the first 30 days is $20 a month. There's a link in the description box to join. If you're not interested in the coaching program, you just want to get my plays each day, that's $49.95 a month, and you get access to all my plays for all sports. And a link is in the description box below. Hey guys, appreciate you so much for watching this video. Don't forget, you can follow me on Twitter, MGCovers, covers spelled with a Z, Instagram, MGCovers with a Z. On Instagram, on my story, I post a lot of little small tidbits, handicapping lessons, etc. So there's a lot of good information there. If you follow me on Instagram, Twitter, you'll see me ranting and raving about my Gamecocks and my Redskins from time to time. But I do talk about handicapping information. So don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel. Greatly appreciate it, and hope everybody has a winning week. Take care.